Good morning. How is everyone doing this Monday morning? Looks like I'm getting a message. How is everyone doing? Is anyone online? Oh, I just got message from my clay supplier store that they have closed their showroom area, but kind of like what yarn shops are doing. They said you can call in your order with your credit card information and then go in and pick up your clay. Hi, Patrice. So yeah, almost every place in Washington is taking steps, uh, and doing the doing the right thing. I feel so. I do have around like 500, no, probably more than that amount of clay that needs to be recycled. So this is motivation for me to go ahead and recycle it. Anyway, that's with the clay part. What I'm knitting right now is the Fantastich shawl by Stephen West. Um, I have loved his shawl patterns at all times. Is anyone else knitting this? So I have knit several of his shawls before, and then I went into this complete zone for almost more than a year or so that I said I don't want to knit any shawls. Not particularly by him or anything. I was just like, I enjoy knitting them. I like the shaping, I like the use of color and the yarn, but I don't really wear shawls. So I was like, okay, I am going to take a pause and not knit any shawls for a while. So for almost a year or so, I didn't knit any shawls, but I did knit, sweaters and socks and cowls and things like that. But this pattern came out recently, I think around 2, 3 weeks back, and the colors were just amazing what he had used, and plus the pattern was very interesting. Um, so I said, you know what, this one I want to knit. But again, the question was that I don't wear shawls, so what am I going to do? Uh, Fortunately, when this pattern came out, I was at Stitches West, and riding with me was Nancy Torrance from Schmutzerella Yarn, and she actually rode with me to California for Stitches. She was good company, and we chatted a lot about her yarn, a lot about, you know, how we started doing what we are doing, and things like that. And I have knit with her yarn before, and it's beautiful yarn and she does amazing colors. And then she started talking about her gradient mini sets. So I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and uh, see what kinds of colors she has. And she has some really amazing gradient sets, and the rest of her colors are really good as well. And then when I saw the yarn requirements for her for this shawl, I decided that, you know what, let me knit one with yours and with all your yarns. And since I don't wear shawls, you can have it as a sample for your booth. So that's how this came about. And they come in mini skeins, the gradients, and I have made a cake out of them, as you can see here. So these are the two gradients that I'm using, and this is a sparkly base. I don't know if you can see the sparkle in it. Yeah, can you see the sparkle? Yeah, there is some sparkle. So that is what I am up to. Hold on just a second. So yeah, so this is, one good way for me to mm, knit the shawl with the yarns that I wanted. Plus, I don't have to feel guilty that I've knit the shawl and now no one's wearing it. So, I just messaged Nancy, so I don't know if she is online. So, yeah, I'm chatting with Nancy at the same time. So, what other projects are you working on? I know people. Hey Nancy, we were just talking about your amazing yarn, and the shawl is coming out pretty nicely. I'm liking the way the colors are falling in place, and oh, thank you. Yeah, the hat is actually the Langfield pattern by Martina Bem. That's Langfield. Uh, and it's the yarn that I used is actually my own hand spun, and it's Woolworth and silk from Sweet Georgia yarns, and so I spun it and then let it out. So finally end of it. The only thing which I find a little annoying about this pattern is the edging, which is a twisted rib, and I have to pull through the back loop, and it just like suddenly slows me down, and I don't wish to, drop a stitch at that point because picking up twisted stitches is also annoying. But let me show you the front side of the shawl. Currently, this is what it looks like. Um, can you see? I hope the colors are not too blown out. Where's the camera? Okay. This is where it is. And then so yeah, there is a twisted rib section in the beginning out here, which is this blue section here. Then there is this cable section out here. Thank you, Joseph. And then there are these triangles, which are basically knit purl stitches, but it changes in every row to give you that, you know, those triangle shapes going on. Then there's a seed stitch section. Try saying that fast. And then now I think I am at a slip stitch block section, which is section number 6. So that's going to happen in the green and the blue yarns right here. So it's fun. And the other thing which is, you know, a little bit weird about this pattern, not weird, you know, it's fun nonetheless. His patterns are so well written. It's I have to keep track of every row, because and the pattern is given row by row, and there's always something slightly different happening in every row, and it means after doing a few stitches then I know what's happening, but in the next row I need to change things all over again. Well, Nancy, it's your yarn, it has to look good, right? And before, okay, now I have to use the blue. So I honestly don't. I used to knit a whole bunch of shawls before, and I knew how to carry the yarn uh, so that it got locked. And suddenly I feel I've not done it in such a long time. I think I've forgotten, but I think I'm still doing it right. It's just muscle memory. But see, here again is a twisted rib, so I have to like knit from the back loop, and this is what just it's a little bit tedious, but it's not, you know, it's only a few stitches. But yeah, some parts of the pattern are pretty intuitive, which is nice. But then again, the stitch pattern is uh, a little bit. So this pattern is, you make one, then slip one with the yarn at the back, and then you knit 5. Okay. 4, 5. So this is a slip stitch pattern. So this will look nice. Hi Crystal, thank you. Hi Avinita. We need to do some live, um, you know, uh, live telecasts. Yet, like sitting in groups together live. And I know in Instagram you can join somebody else's feed, but I can do Instagram only on my phone. I can't do it on a computer screen or something. Yeah, even I save a whole bunch of stuff on this on YouTube. You know, I have different categories in which I've saved all these tricks. But like carrying yarn on the side is something which I never, you know, I was like, I always just kind of had the hang of how to do it, but I've not knit shawls like this in 2 colors and stuff for a while. So it suddenly goes like, how did I do that before? And I think I'm doing it in the same way, but you never know. And Crystal, these are Nancy's yarns, which you know you must be familiar with. So I just got a message from my clay supplier that they are keeping their showroom closed as well. And like many yarn shops and several other shops, uh, you know, what they are doing is they are taking your orders online, and then you can go to the curb and they'll come and deliver. Yes, Nancy, we really need to do that. That's what I was talking about. Um, like I said, on Instagram, we can join a live feed from another person, and two people can be live at a time. But that is kind of like I can't read comments, or you have a good view. Like we'll be just seeing each other's face, and you cannot see, um, you know, what the person is doing. So the camera angles are kind of messed up, which is fine. Times like this when yeah, I mostly work alone at home itself, but when suddenly somebody tells you that, oh, you cannot actually go out, that sucks then. So we can do a live Zoom meetup on Facebook. Once we do that, I can imagine we'll do it more often. There's also multiple people Google Hangouts, which shows up on YouTube. Okay, so Google Hangouts. I don't know about that too. And then, so Zoom, I saw that there was, it's something you have to subscribe to, I guess, if you're hosting, right? And what I'm talking about doesn't even need to be a public event, which is live. We can just have our own group of people, you know, to get together and are knitting on something or spinning or stitching a sweater like I did yesterday. So we can just do something like that. Evanita, you are a lot more familiar with, so maybe you can do some research if you don't mind. I will look into it too. It's and then I do plan on doing some live feeds from my clay studio as well. But when I'm working in this clay studio, I can barely read comments or anything because I keep moving around so much. I'm not sitting in one spot. So I'm glad this slip section came into these two colors because they will contrast pretty well. So far, actually, I am on only the first skein of the gradients. Like I've tied them together with knots, and so far I've reached section 6 and I haven't reached the next gradient color. So okay, so ebony does. Yes, we are trying our best, Linda, to be creative and keeping our community busy, safe. Um, this is the next best thing, and I think we need to make the most of it. Yeah. Yeah, Nancy, I think that's what it's like when I use my phone, it's gets really annoying because the phone just doesn't sit quiet. If I get a message or another notification, it just messes with whatever I'm broadcasting. So having a webcam really helps. Mine is a Logitech webcam, and I really can't remember how much I spent for it. And I think I was going to buy it. I think I got it on Amazon, or maybe I just went to Best Buy and I got it. Sometimes I don't have patience to wait for shipping, but Yeah, Linda, this pattern is really fun. And I think for times like this, there is that thing that we all like the plain stockinette, and I have my plain stockinette patterns as well, in which I don't require much to think about. But then the problem is that if I'm not thinking about the pattern, then I'm thinking about all the other stuff that is going around, which I don't want to. So I like working on. Uh, it's not a hard pattern. It just requires a little focus, so that your mind is not wandering and wondering about what's happening and whether we are safe and all that kind of stuff. So uh, this I'm uh, this is one of those patterns. The other one, which I hope I can live stream, but I might be embarrassed about, is my crochet project, because it's a lot of work. Oh, is Sandy online as well? Okay. Five. Okay. Thank goodness my count is right. On the back, make one right. So there we go again. The twisted rib on the edge. On the front side, like doing the twisting the knit stitches, that's fine. That is not too difficult to do. It is the purling through the back loop that's annoying. Hi Sandy, thank you. These are all colors from Nancy Schmutzerella yarn. These are her two gradient sets. Nancy, you are online, so please remind me what their name is, because I have forgotten. There's something green and there's something peacock? I don't know. The name of the pattern is Fantastich by Stephen West. So that's the pattern, that's the shawl, as you can see. So the texture and pattern keeps changing. Yes, Stephen West is pretty cool. His patterns are really amazing. So, and they are well written. So I don't know if you can see this part of the section, the bricks. Let me see. I think there's a close up. Yeah, there's a close up of it. So I am now going to be knitting this slip section portion. Yes, and so his pattern has recommended using 7 different colors, but looking at the yardage that Nancy has in her gradient sets, which is quite a bit, it's like 500 plus yards in each of her gradient sets. I'll be able to make the small size shawl with just two of her gradient sets and one full skein of contrasting color, and the one which I'm using is a sparkle base spectacular, I think. So with just these three you could do the entire pattern. You don't need 7 skeins of fingering weight yarn. So that's what, after doing all the calculation, I said, oh, this should work out just fine. I don't know 100% for sure, but we'll see, because I have not done the entire shot. But the math according to how much of yarn is required for which sections and all, I calculated it and I think we should be good. I am taking notes on which colors I'm using for which section, whether I'm using a gradient color or I'm using the solid color, or which gradient color I'm using, whether using gradient color A or B and the contrasting color. So it'll be a good thing for people to see, what's the right way, what's the easier way to do it. Okay, so now we go to the back section. Yeah, and like I said, I've reached section 6, and so far I'm still in the first skein of the gradient. So there is my pearl through the back loops again. I like the look of it, but you know, you're just stalled. Stalled, stalled how, Linda? Is the video stalled? Okay, so I did that. So this is finally a much more relaxed section than any of the others, I think, because it's knitting on both sides with slip stitches. And believe me, this triangle section which was there, it's very easy. It's just knit and pearls, but in every row the number of knits and pearls and their sequence changes, so you always have to keep track. It's hard to even like visually see what you're doing. Means you can, that's just like a second check you can do, but essentially you kind of need to memorize your sequence of knits and pearls in that section, and it changes in every row, even the back row. Yeah, the minis have so much yardage. So that's what I'm like. I said, I don't know when the gradient effect will even be seen. And according to my calculations, or the way I'm using of the yarn, I would land up using most of the green and most of the yellow, and only probably half of the blue. So I'm going to see later on as the pattern progresses if I have enough yardage left, if I can actually do the large section, the large shawl, by just using what I have. I don't think the yardage matched, so I know I would be short and I don't want to add an additional skein to it. But you know, his shawls, I usually find them very big anyway. Even the small sizes, I find them huge. So, plus, I think it might be easier to hang a smaller shawl than a huge one in your boot space, right? Wishful thinking. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying watching me knit, but I hope we can figure out a way to do this like a community thing, so more people can be on camera, and we can actually just chat, maybe, and have conversations with people. I know it's possible. People do conferences like this all the time. So slip with yarn in front. I know I'm going to miss that once in a while. And actually, I'm a little bit in an awkward spot while I'm knitting on a table. I usually have my knitting much closer to my body here, and then I knit. I can knit faster this way, but I don't know if it's very visible. Actually, it's still visible. I don't know, maybe I should just do what I normally do. Hmm. Yes, we definitely need some interaction and socialization this way. Yeah, the Zoom video I have to see because I think the timing for the tiny fiber studio is like 3 a.m. my time or something. So I really doubt. I thought I will press the join thing and it'll show me the right time. It still didn't, but when I calculated what time it's being broadcast, it's like 3 a.m. So I doubt if I'm going to be up that early to. Okay, I'm going to knit comfortably. Yeah, and again, I'm rigging up things like my camera, which is giving you the top view, is right here, and I think I could move it. So, and I think tomorrow maybe I'm going to do the uh, placket on my sweater. I did sew up yesterday. I had the live feed for that. It shouldn't be 3 a.m. Yeah, so why is it showing 3 a.m.? Because it's showing, I think it was showing 10 a.m. New Zealand time. And and it said UTC plus 13 hours or something. And then when I just Googled that to find out what is it Seattle time, and it was showing as 3 a.m. So can you check? And uh, yeah, guild meetings, everything, yeah, everything is getting cancelled. Um, so the currently, as of what I know, Vogue knitting was last weekend. Of course, that was cancelled, and then DFW has been cancelled as well, which was the first weekend of April, and it was the first time I was actually going to fly down and ship my work for a retail show. Like I've done that for wholesale when I have to just take samples, but for retail, I haven't done it as much. I've not done it at all because I have to take a lot of inventory. So this time I said, I'm gonna plan it out and ship all my work there, and hopefully it'll be fine. But it didn't happen. So Tiny Studio is 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Okay, alright. Let me mark that on my calendar so I can join that and see. Yeah, 2 p.m. on Wednesday I can definitely do. I don't know how the thing was calculating. Or maybe if someone can just post a few local times out there, like one time for US, one time for UK. I know people are from all over the world, but just at least few general times. Like if they even posted one US time, people, yeah, like Central Time or whatever, people can figure out what is it going to be. So New Zealand, okay, it's the day after us, but 5 6 hours earlier in the day. Okay, 2 p.m. Wednesday I can definitely do. So I will be doing that. I'm going to go ahead and mark my calendar as well for that. Yeah, because I saw Susie's message saying that if you say that you're going to the event, it should just display the local time, but it doesn't. So, so that's why I landed up googling it, and when I was, you know, putting that time on Google and trying to find out, it was showing me 3 a.m. for some reason. And what I put in my Google search was that UTC 10 a.m. plus 13 hours because that's what the time is displayed on that meetup. I don't think we need a special app for it. There is just a link for Zoom that you can go. I've never used it before, but from this is going to be my first meetup with Tiny Fiber Studio, and yeah, there is just a link available. I clicked on the link, and it opened a browser window where the video would be. But since it's not being telecast right now, nothing is coming up. So have fun, Nancy. Thank you for joining in and talking about your yarn. So now everyone knows what I'm doing and with what yarn. I have made notes of the colorways and everything in my Ravelry page. So if anyone is curious, you can look at my Ravelry page, Charan Sachar, just like my name. Also, the app is kind of like a phone app. That's good. Okay, I think Casper wants to come in and say hi. Come. Let me bring it out. I'm still live, so let's give mommy a chair. Hi, Casper. So, Casper is here. Can everyone see him? He's come for his massage. You want to say hi to everyone? You want to come up here? Yeah. Come on. Say hi to everyone. Yes. Say hi. Yes, Casper is here. He's really good. He doesn't bother me with any of the yarn or anything, right? Casper's a good boy. Want to go out? You can go out. You can go. Want to sit with daddy? Sit with daddy. He doesn't like being shut out of the room. He's like, why? Why can't I be everywhere or anywhere that I want? Yes. And it's nice, thanks to him, we are stepping out of the house, but, just to parks and, or, taking him for a walk. So I think I'm at the end. Slip marker, knit one, and then I do the knit through back loops. I mean pull through back loops. The annoying pull through back loops. Alright. Isabella likes to help. Yeah, Casper thinks he's helping me by just giving me company, which is a lot of help. But he doesn't. I remember the very first time when we had gotten him, he picked up a braid of my fiber, and I think he thought it was his toy. So and I just told him, Casper, no, that's not for you. And that was like the first and last time he did that. After that, he's never gotten close to my fiber or my yarn. And I'm kind of, when I'm deciding projects and stuff, I really just pull out all my yarn, put it on the floor, decide colors and everything, and he'll just stand on the outside waiting for a clearing to come up to me, and he'll tiptoe around the whole yarn stash, making sure he doesn't touch anything, and then come to me. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad that they are oblivious to what's happening, and they can have their nice happy walks. I have to tell you this thing though. I yesterday, we just decided we needed to get out, so we went for a long drive. We went till Olympia, which is an hour drive, and we went to one of the parks there, and we thought, a park is a place where you can keep pretty good distance from other people, so that should be fine. But there were so many kids playing on the swings and the monkey bars and all of that, which made me quite uncomfortable. And so I think we were there for like maybe 5 minutes or so, and there weren't many people, but whoever was there, like the people had gotten their kids to the park and they were playing on the swings and stuff, which was a little disturbing. But then from there, we went to another sculpture park, which is further into Olympia, and there it we were the only ones there. It's a very small. It's not a small park. It's a pretty decent sized park with a lot of sculptures in it, but it's really in the middle of nowhere. So we went there. We were the only ones there. We spent some good time in there. I didn't post pictures of it. I should probably post pictures. But right now, I just don't feel like opening Facebook because every time I open it, there's something worrisome to look at. So I'm glad you all are here watching my Facebook feed, but I'm trying to do what I can do, right? So wait a second. What size needle am I using here? I think this is a size. Hmm. Okay. Let me just check what size needle I'm using because I think I'm supposed to use size 5. But I don't think I had a size 5 needle. Hi Sumit, how are you? We are doing fine. It's not that it requires patience or anything. It's muscle memory. It's as simple as writing. Like I couldn't do what you do. You write very well. I couldn't. So it's basically what your hands can just do things automatically after a while. So it's really not that hard. And I have even taught my 6-year-old niece to knit. It's pretty easy. So it just feels intimidating, but really there are only two things to know about knitting. There's a knit and a purl stitch, and then it's all just a combination of those two things. So, but yeah, hope y'all are keeping safe in India. I know with the current talks I've had with family out there, it seems like everyone is taking it very lightly, which, I don't know if it's the right thing to do. But here we are on pretty strict watch and not going out much. Only if we really, really have to. Most of the time, we are just staying at home. And then, if you're staying at home, then, well, I can knit. So, and I'm working in the clay studio as well. I have orders to fill out and things to do. So, that's keeping me busy, which is good. So, anyway, I think I'm going to take a break. Thank you everyone for joining. Yeah, things are under control. That's good. Yeah, the main thing is like here also when it started, it was just a few cases, and we all thought, oh, it is under control and it's far away, and it's not, but it's this thing spreads exponentially, and that's what's the bad thing about it. Like when it spreads, yeah, and the only way it will not spread is if people stay at home. And I don't think people in India are taking that seriously right now. Uh, People are still roaming around and making meme after meme about the coronavirus. So that's a little disturbing to see. But, you know, I hope it's not as big, but from whatever we have seen and have been seeing every day and seeing reports, we need to be more careful than that. So take care, avoid going outside, stay at home as much as possible. Here, all stores, everything, several stores, they have all closed down or they are still working, but they are not opening their doors. What they are doing is you can place an order, park your car outside, and they'll come outside and put your stuff in your car. So you don't even have to come in the store. Yeah. So that's the situation we are at. And even us, we started off with very low numbers. And it just has been increasing. Every day we hear more and more numbers. So be careful. Wash your hands. All right. Bye, everyone. I don't want to get into the whole talk of the virus thing. I think we have been hearing enough about it already. So hopefully I'll try to come in as often as I can. I would love chatting with everyone, and yeah, hopefully we can do more of these group meetups, and we'll research a little bit more about that and get back. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.